Professor Kingsley Dixon, Professor at Curtin University in the School of Molecular and Life Sciences, a lifetime botanist, and I live the dream of my hobby and my passion. The Australian Biome Project, I think, is clearly one of the greatest ways that we can showcase in a single spot the great benefits and the extraordinary diversity of Western Australian plant life, animal life, and the extraordinary landscapes and the deep cultural connections that people have had with this landscape over tens of thousands of years. The Australian Biome Project is doing something I think globally unique. It's showing a deep time traditional culture. It's linked to the environment, to the landscapes, and is putting it into a format and in a place and within an architectural space that will, I think, truly demonstrate that this culture and these environments are globally unique and are harmonious in so many ways. The current research programs that we're doing here are multifaceted. We work mostly in restoring the damaged landscapes of Australia, particularly in Western Australia. Work right across a whole lot of different mine sites. Of course, West Australia being one of the great mineral areas of the world, mine site restoration is a really big deal. But my truly great passion are the unique plants of the landscapes. 98% of our plants are found here and nowhere else. And many of those are critically endangered because of what we've done to these landscapes, often with just 30% of major areas left uncleared. And so I see my major work being working out means of saving, preserving, conserving and rebuilding landscapes to put back threatened species. The Australian Biome Project, I think, acts like a focal point for all of these activities. It will not only bring international attention to our unique landscapes, our plants, our cultural connections to this great country, but it will also provide the opportunity to bring world-class botanical and conservation skills to Western Australia, because the biome will act like that focal point in the same way some of the great gardens like the Eden Project or Royal Botanic Gardens Kew act as focal points to bring global attention. And I think this will be the great gateway to improving and exploring new opportunities for conserving Australian animals and plants. Clearly restoring many of our damaged agricultural landscapes, which have been overexploited, areas that maybe should never have been cleared, particularly with drying climates. There now exists an extraordinary opportunity for our traditional owners, the Aboriginal people of Western Australia, to be engaged, connecting their country, rebuilding their landscapes. The Biome Project, I think, acts as, again, that focal point to show the sorts of activities that can be done to restore the landscapes, and through engaging with Indigenous people and their knowledge of the land, rebuilding their cultural identity, and of course rebuilding the health and welfare of their people. I think the greatest experience was, in fact, just November last year, working with some of the Yamaji people outside of Geraldton and putting in Western Australia's first totally Indigenous owned and operated native seed farm for restoration. It's a very tiny step in a very long journey that we have to make in improving the seed supply chain, so we've got all the species in the right place at the right time to get large-scale restoration and repair of landscapes. But doing it with the Yamaji people out of Morawa was, I think, an uplifting moment and a real pinnacle of what I think has been my career so far. We all need to act now. We need to be engaged, we need to be involved, we need to learn, and through learning and understanding we'll appreciate and learn a love of this country, the plants, the animals and the traditional cultures, that I think is the next major step for all of us as Australians in going forward in ensuring Australia has a bright and prosperous future where all people, organisms and landscapes are preserved and protected.